Pretty good. So for about 2 weeks or so now, I have been practicing with this little guy. Wait. This is the Beta FPV 6S Lite drone. It actually came as a starter kit with these goggles and this radio. This thing is so much fun. You can fly it around the house. You get a first-person perspective from these goggles. And the reason that I bought this is because the ultimate goal is to upgrade to a larger Cinewhoop that I can take outdoors and fly around and get that kind of cinematic FPV footage. I've got a Mavic 2 Pro, and the Mavic 2 Pro is great, but the problem with it is you're very limited as to how you can fly. You can fly straight, you can kind of turn, you can do some very subtle banks and things like that, but you can't get that real flowy type motion that you get out of, say, like an FPV drone or a Cinewhoop. So I've been practicing with this, and it's a lot harder than flying a Mavic because it doesn't have any of the safety features. It doesn't have any of the like the presets and flight paths and things like that. Everything is all manual. You have to compensate in each direction depending on which way you make this thing go. And in the beginning, I was real bad, but I've gotten a lot better, and I've actually upgraded to a Cinewhoop, but that's a different story in and of itself. So then that brings me to the Cinewhoop that I ordered, and it's right here. Yeah, it's in pieces. Long story short, I had my share of challenges when I got this thing. I thought it was just going to be as easy as that the little Beta FPV drone to get up and running. You know, with the Beta FPV drone, you literally just plug in the battery, turn on the receiver or the radio, turn on the goggles, and you're pretty much up and running at that point. Apparently there's a lot more that goes into these Cinewhoops. You have to change settings and kind of tune them and certain programs like Beta Flight. I was having issues getting the thing to arm, meaning getting it to turn on so that I could actually fly it. When I would fly it, I would randomly lose connection and it would luckily land safely. I burned up one of the motors, so I've got a new motor coming in, so now I have to learn how to solder. But in order to do that, I basically had to take the whole thing apart. So now I'm gonna learn, I guess, how to put together a drone from scratch. But in the end, I guess I'll know more about FPV drones than I do now. So just trying to look at the positives. So this is the motor that I burnt up. And what I think happened is there is this little plastic shield. I think it's some kind of a protective shield that keeps the screws that go in underneath it from getting into the coils. Problem is, I think this plastic shield hit the coils. The motor was on, burned it, smoked it, sucked some of the plastic up in there, and now it won't turn like it's supposed to. And that means that I have to learn how to solder because it goes to the, I think that's the flight control board right there, but you can see how right there is where it connects. So I've got a soldering iron coming in the mail, and we're gonna figure out how to do that.
Turnout, which is what they absolutely need. Is it high enough? We're not there yet. But you do know some of these are set for. Can you overcome?
I had to super glue some of the, I don't know, I guess the supports on this thing because I've crashed it one too many times. So I had to get out the super glue and some rubber bands. There's two supports that were broken on two different propellers, and I think it was causing a lot of vibration, and one of the propellers actually popped off during flight earlier. So I'm gonna check and see if these are dry, and if they are, I'll see if it'll fly. That doesn't smell good. Okay, so I think when I was yeah, this is one of the propellers, or one of the supports that needed to be super glued, and it appears that I may have gotten some super glue where I shouldn't have because this propeller wasn't turning. Let's see if that helps. Oh, well, it's flying. Let's see if it... I think it may be time to replace it. Do you hear that? Maybe you can help me. So I've had this issue for a little while where I'm getting this kind of I don't know, this sort of electrical noise coming from my studio monitors. So I recorded the audio of whatever this interference is and popped it into Adobe Audition, and I noticed that about every 500 hertz or so there was some interference happening. So this is like the spectral, whatever it's called, and you've got 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500, 3000, all these individual lines going across the screen correspond with the number there, and they're all about 500, I guess that's hertz. Yeah, 500 hertz apart. Not exactly sure where it's coming from. There is a lot of electrical stuff on this desk, so it's a possibility that there's some electrical interference somewhere, but I've tried getting some of those little adapters that help to reduce the hum, and that didn't help. I've tried using different audio cables like TRS cables, which are supposed to reduce that electrical noise, and I know it's not the speakers because I actually bought these speakers because the previous speakers were doing the same thing, so it's definitely something else. It could possibly be related to my audio interface, but I don't think so because I have heard the electrical noise coming from it when the interface was off, but the speakers were on and turned up high. So ultimately, I don't know exactly what the deal is. But if anybody out there happens to know, leave me a comment and let me know. It's killing me. I hate hearing that little squeal the entire time I'm sitting at my desk. So let me know. Out with the old, in with the new. And I crashed already. So I've got a different drone out now, my Mavic 2 Pro. I had this idea yesterday of just sending the drone up in the air and shooting straight down into my backyard, and I would have like a little dance party, and I would use masks to make it seem like I'm dancing a bunch of me's in the backyard as the camera films from overhead. So I thought I'd give it a shot and see if I can do that. Let's try it. So I'm working on putting the clip together, but unfortunately, while I was recording, the drone rotated a little bit. So I'm in After Effects trying to use the tracker to see if I can stabilize that rotation. And if that works, then that should fix the issue that I'm having, and it should work out. And for anyone who's wondering how I did that, I basically just sent the drone up into the air, put it in tripod mode, had the camera facing straight down, and then I recorded myself dancing in different parts of the yard for a few seconds. When I got the footage into Premiere, Warp Stabilizer wasn't working to keep the footage from rotating, so I had to open it up in After Effects and use the Stabilize there, which took a really long time, but it worked. I did have to zoom in quite a bit on the clip, so might have lost a little bit of resolution and quality there. But the effect that I was going for worked. So that was a fun little thing for today. A couple things came in the mail today. First off, I got this charging board, which is right here. And this is supposed to solve my FPV battery charging issue. So now with this, I should be able to charge my batteries balanced, and all should be well. Cross our fingers to see if that works. Also, got my new motors. I ordered two just to have some options, but these are the new, and it's not focusing. There you go. There's the new motor. I got two of these to work with. Again, I got to figure out how to solder. Unfortunately, my soldering iron probably won't come in till Monday, and then there'll be some learning that I'll have to do with that. So who knows when I'll get this drone fixed. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep on practicing with my little Cinewhoop, and hopefully I'll be back up and running soon. Right, Pudge? Huh? Yeah? So I think I have this set up correctly. All the cables seem to be in the right spots. Batteries are set up, no errors or alerts or anything on the charger itself. The fan is running pretty high, which makes me a little bit nervous, but I think we're in business. Turns out I didn't have things set up correctly, so This particular battery here got very warm and actually started to make a sizzling sound. So I'm glad I didn't walk away for too long. Apparently, if the internet is telling me the truth, I guess it's an issue if you're trying to charge a bunch of batteries that have different levels of charge already. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's correct or not, but I hope I didn't like ruin this battery. So then I guess my next plan of attack is going to be to just charge them individually, and hopefully that works. And then going forward, I can charge them in bulk once they're all around the same charge level, I guess. Man, this is so complicated. Why has it got to be this complicated? Anyway, all right, moving on.